I had the graveyard watch on Aldergate Relay when the petition came through, and I almost logged it the way I logged all of them. Stamped, routed, forgotten by morning. Aldergate sits on the rim of the Kesh Deep, a border watch station strung along the last stretch of charted space before the old treaty lines run out. Most of what crosses my board is cargo manifests and mining claims. Once or twice a cycle, it's something heavier. That night it was a Threna colony fleet, 41 vessels, running on reserve power, requesting formal asylum under the Kesh Accord. I pulled their file before I answered. I wish I hadn't, honestly, because then I might have processed it clean, the way the manual says to. Instead, I read all 11 prior denials first, in order, going back 4 months. The Vantic Concord had cited habitat quota. The Osmir Compact had cited processing capacity. 3 border states hadn't answered at all, which their systems logged as a soft refusal after 90 days of silence. The Threna's home system had gone unstable 8 months ago. Their sun had started shedding mass in a way their astronomers hadn't predicted and couldn't stop, and every single power with the room to take them in had found a clean administrative reason not to. Their transmission, when it reached my board, wasn't a plea. That was the part that got me. It was a formal request, worded exactly the way you'd word something you expected to be turned down and wanted a clean record of having tried. Population, 18,406. Fuel reserves, 11 days at current burn. Requesting temporary harbor, resupply, and passage consideration to any world willing to hear a resettlement case. Not asylum, passage consideration. They'd stopped asking for a home. They were asking, politely, to be pointed somewhere else to keep asking. I flagged it priority and woke the station commander, because that's protocol, but I also did something that wasn't in the manual. I sent back an acknowledgement before command even reached the bridge, just 3 lines. Request received. Hold your position. We are not the 12th denial. I don't know why I wrote that last part. I think I wanted them to have it in the log, whatever happened next. What happened next was Commander Reyes Oduya came onto the bridge in her sleep clothes with her hair still pinned from the night before, read the file over my shoulder in about 90 seconds, and said, "Get their envoy on visual. And get medical up. Full triage, not standby. Full triage for 41 ships, ma'am. For 18,000 people who've been rationing air for 8 months," she said. "Yes, Ensign. Full triage." The envoy's name, when the channel opened, was Sail Ver, an elder of what they called the Third Circle. I never did get the full shape of Threna governance, only that circles meant something like generation and standing both. Their physiology surprised me the first time I saw it clearly. Pale, faintly translucent along the throat and wrists, skin that shifted color slowly with mood, the way our faces flush, though slower, more like weather changing. Ver's color when the channel opened was a flat, careful gray, braced gray. I'd seen that color 11 times already, in 11 recorded rejections I'd read that night, though of course this was the only one I'd seen live. "Aldergate Relay," Ver said. "We thank you for the acknowledgement. We understand you may require time to render a determination. We are prepared to hold position and await your answer." Reyes Oduya didn't make them wait for a determination. That was the first thing that seemed to catch Ver off balance, not the answer itself, but the speed of it. "There's no determination pending," the commander said. "You're inside the Kesh Accord's harbor radius, and you've requested asylum. Under our charter, that's not a request we deliberate on for fuel-critical fleets. It's one we act on. Bring your ships to the following coordinates. Medical will meet your lead vessel at the dock. We'll sort administration after everyone's breathing easier air than they've had in 8 months." There was a pause on the Threna side, long enough that I checked the channel hadn't dropped. "Commander," Ver said finally, "I want to be certain I understand. You are granting harbor before review." "I'm granting harbor because your children have been on rationed air for 8 months, and you're 11 days from a decision that shouldn't take 11 minutes, Reyes Oduya said. "Review can happen with everyone fed." Ver's color didn't change to relief. Not right away. It went, if anything, a shade grayer, which I didn't understand until I'd spent more time around Threna and learned that color is slowest to move, exactly at the moment feeling is largest. That a Threna elder holding still and pale isn't failing to feel something, they're feeling too much to let it show yet. The 41 ships came in over 6 hours. in the ragged, uneven formation of vessels that have been running lean for too long, engines throttled down to whatever kept them moving, and no more. I watched the dock feeds instead of sleeping. Every Threnna who came down the gangway had the same look, a kind of careful blankness, the look of people who have rehearsed being told no so many times that being told yes hasn't caught up with their faces yet. Medical had the deck lined with staff before the first family reached the bottom of the ramp, not a checkpoint, a wall of people already moving to help, scanning children first, then elders, water and warm food handed across before anyone had to ask for it, translation drones circling low so nobody had to explain their own pain in a second language while they were still shaking from the cold of a badly heated ship. I watched one boy, maybe 7, by whatever their years worked out to in ours, stop dead at the bottom of the ramp and just stare at the deck lights, at the warmth coming off the heating vents, like he was waiting for someone to tell him it was a mistake and to get back on the ship. A medic crouched down to his eye level instead of leaning over him, said something soft that the translation drone caught half a second late, and held out a folded thermal blanket, the way you'd hand a kid a toy rather than a supply. The boy took it like it might be taken back. Nobody took it back. Third or fourth family down the line, I stopped counting how many of them did the same thing, stood still at the bottom of the ramp, bracing for the catch that never came. Command had pulled crew from 3 other shifts to help process intake, and none of them complained about the hour, which told me something about how the station felt about it even before Reyes Oduya said a word. Somebody had raided the mess stores for anything that could be warmed fast, and by hour 2 there were trays going hand to hand down the dock that had nothing to do with any supply manifest I'd ever filed. I found out later half of it came out of crew's own rations, quietly, without anyone making a thing of it. I came down myself around hour 4, off official duty, because Ver had asked for the ensign who sent the acknowledgement, and Reyes Oduya, amused, told me to go find out why. Ver was standing near the base of the ramp, watching their people get folded into warmth and light and competent hands, and their color had shifted at last, not to anything I had a word for, some pale gold green that I later learned meant something close to grief and relief occupying the same body at once. "You wrote that we were not the 12th denial," Ver said. "I wondered if you understood what you were promising." "Not really," I admitted. "I just didn't want to send the same form letter as everyone else." "We had prepared for the 12th denial," Ver said. "We had a route planned past it, and a route planned past the 13th. We did not prepare for this." They looked out at the deck, children asleep on cots that hadn't existed 6 hours ago, an elder being handed a bowl of something warm by a human medic who didn't speak a word of Threnna and didn't need to. "We asked for passage consideration, Ensign. You have given us a door with our name already on it." I told them that wasn't really my doing, that it was the commander, the charter, the whole station working at once. Ver's color deepened at that, warmer. "Then perhaps that is the part we did not prepare for," they said. "Not one door, all of them, opened by people who did not need to be convinced first." I still have the log entry from that night, the real one, not the sanitized version that went up the chain. Population received, 18,391, 15 lost in the last 11 days before we reached them, close enough that command flagged it for review of accord response times going forward. Sael Ver's people are 3 months into resettlement now, out past the ring habitats, in a valley system with a sun that isn't dying. Ver still sends me a message on the anniversary of the crossing, always the same 2 lines, in Threnna first, and then in careful, improving common. "We are still finding all the doors. None of them are closed." I keep meaning to write back something better than rise. "You're welcome." I haven't found it yet. Some days I think there isn't a better answer than that the whole job, in the end, is just making sure the words are true.